Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. My name is Sagheer Mufti. I am with HBL Pakistan and I am going to be speaking on the transformation for the digital age. I want to make 5 comments on this topic for you today. The first one is why? Why do we need to look at transformation? Why is it important? The second thing is, what are the pillars of a good digital transformation program? What's the framework for it? And if we get the pillars and the framework right, what does the traditional look like versus the new world look like? And then, is it worth it? Are the trends supporting it? Or are we going to go and do time, effort spent on something which is not needed? And yes, everything has its challenges. So I would like to speak to you a little bit about the challenges that we have seen when we run a program of this nature. So, the first thing is, it is known that 75% of digital programs or any large transformation program fails. So you're talking about being successful 25% of the time. So we will need to talk about what makes us fail, what makes us succeed. And this has been done by some of the best. I'm talking about some of the biggest companies in the world undertaking transformation programs and not succeeding. For example, Kodak. Many of you may remember Kodak, or maybe you don't. Okay, it doesn't exist today. It was a dominant player in the market that it occupied. Their products were well known. Their logos were all over the place. But they did not see the changes in the consumer trend. They did not see the patterns of behavior changing, and they don't exist. Interestingly, Procter & Gamble in 2012 declared itself to be a company which is going to be the most digital company in the world. And they launched a program for it. And when the earnings pressure came as the economic environment changed, compromises were made. And they, instead of sticking to their program, gave in to the resistance, and the program lost its way. And they never really went on to become a digital company as they wished they would like to. GE initiated a huge program and felt that digital was their future because it allowed them to make improvements to their products, connect their products, what we call Internet of Things today. They saw that very early on in the 2014-2015 time frame, and they pushed for it, but they did not succeed because it was a big company, had many moving parts, and they were not able to communicate across the companies, the group of companies they had. They were not able to get the buy-in of everybody, and Jeff Emersard, the CEO, lost his job. So there are consequences when you get this wrong. But you said these companies are traditional companies, they don't know how to do transformation. Tech companies know how to do transformation. Let's talk about the tech companies for a minute. Yahoo. How many of you know that in 2002, Yahoo was about to buy Google? It's a very well known fact. How many of you know that Yahoo was at the final rounds of negotiation to buy Facebook, and Yahoo felt the price was too high and they reduced the price, and Mark Zuckerberg walked away. Why? Because Yahoo was focused on the media business. Yahoo was not looking at the trends of the consumer. Yahoo did not understand the power of the data Google had and did not see how to monetize it well. So they walked away from these deals. Imagine what Yahoo would be like today if it had bought either of these two companies. It's there. It's among the also rans, but it's not leading the market. BlackBerry. How many of you remember BlackBerry? I love BlackBerries. I still have one of them as a toy because they did not see the impact of the larger screen coming. They did not see the behavior of the customers changing, and they did not adopt. So there are examples in the corporate world of large institutional players, and the examples in the tech world of the small emerging companies to the large tech companies which did not transform because they did not have the appetite for risk, or they did not have the understanding of the change which was taking place, and they let go of these chances. They let go of the ability to be successful. So, how does a good transformation program get made, and then how does one become successful at it? 4 key areas need to be focused on to achieve success in transformation. You have to change the way you do work. It is to your ability to execute on that change which is very important. It's not the conceptualization of the change, it's actually the doing of the change, and that's execution. Companies which are good at execution succeed. If your company wants to embark on a transformation program, it needs to sharpen its skills for execution. What does it take to do execution? First and foremost, it's not about the business processes, it's the talent to run those processes, rebuild them, and improve them on an ongoing basis. So talent plays a big role in companies' success for transformation, to manage the new processes you want to put in place. Next is culture. Culture is key. If you don't believe in it, it's not going to happen. Belief is part of your value system. Belief is part of your culture attributes. Change of culture is important prerequisite to a good transformation program. People focus too much on technology. That does not get you there. It's the right mindset. Technology is a tool. You can buy it. The right mindset you have to develop inside the company. It's the job of the leaders to help you do that. And then lastly, empowerment. You have to put your best people on this. You have to put talent on this. Putting those people and then not letting them work is stupid. If you put them in the job, give them the empowerment to do what you need them to do. And if you do, you will see a transformation program starting to work well. So, if with these pillars in place, what else do we need? I would like to suggest that there are 4 key verticals to be looked at. Customers, customer relationships, customer acquisition, the customer experience. Most companies underinvest in customer experience. Most companies don't understand the value a good customer experience has. So digitize the customer relationships. Build a digitally talented organization. That means people who understand digital working in all parts of the organization. Not just in business, not just in IT, not just in the digital team. It's in your finance team, your control team, your operations team, across the whole company. HR, the people in HR team, if they don't understand what digital means, they cannot help you hire the digital talent. So it's across the whole company that we need talent which understands digital. And then yes, the new oil, harnessing data and the advanced abilities, advanced capabilities in managing and manipulating that data to be able to get outcomes from the data. Data analytics plays a huge role, and all decisions in the company have to be data driven going forward for a company to be successful in transformation. And then lastly, automation of operations. Yes, technology does have a role. Go look for the new technologies coming out, buy them, build them into your architecture, enterprise structure to have the seamless experience that you're looking to give to your clients or to your staff in using your products. This was at a generic level. Now let's talk about financial services. In financial services, how should we be looking at digital transformation? A lot of focus is going in on customer experience and even some focus on process improvement. But frankly, those are just 2 important pillars. The most important pillar is the business model. Let's look at each of them and see what we need to do for each of them. In customer experience, you have to start looking at segmentation, which is analytics based. In your revenue growth, you have to look at what role lead generation through data can play. What does predictive marketing do to allow you to focus much more on a personalized way of marketing, changing your campaigns far more readily to respond to changing trends from the customer. And then the customer touch points. Service, consistency of service, digitally deliver versus through some of our traditional channels. Look at this experience. And talking about channels, omni-channel experience. How across whichever channel the customer comes to, they get the same output, they get the same quality of process, they don't have to give their information again and again, and are recognized across all the channels in being a valued customer of your company. So channels becoming same across a branch, internet, or a mobile app. In operations, we have to look at operational efficiencies, and those efficiencies come in many ways, from performance improvement through less steps in the process. How to identify those steps is through the agile process. Use agile methodology to help you run programs which quickly get you to where your bottlenecks are and how to remove those bottlenecks. Process improvement. Second, it comes from people being able to work whenever they want to work, wherever they want to work, how they want to work. Giving them that flexibility. We have seen in the last 6 months of COVID how people have been able to improve their performance versus deteriorate when they were given the flexibility to work from wherever they could. And I think it's a tribute to many people in many companies who stepped up to support their companies, to support their customers, to allow the companies to continue to deliver that throughout the COVID period. And I think we learned some very valuable lessons in that. So let us let go of the mindset that people have to come in, log in at 9 o'clock and sit in a seat till 6 o'clock to be productive or be able to serve the company. Our staff is becoming, I think, smarter. They are able to work well in remote teams better. What we as companies and leaders need to do is give them clear objectives, clear outcomes, and in return, I think we will see better performance from them. And then data-driven decision making. That's very important in operations. A lot of times and a lot of companies, historically, it's frankly based on very antiquated procedures or antiquated way of thinking about controls. Today, we can have far smarter controls in the back end using data analytics to determine trends, predict where the issues are, and help us get to them faster. And all that helps improve performance management. And the business models, two important things to think about, or rather three. One, in the new environment, you will have product augmentation. You can enhance products and you can offer better products and different products and products you did not think you had. Second, separation of the physical from the digital. It's not about what you own, it's what you deliver to the customer. Uber has taught us that. It does not own a single car and is one of the largest transport industries in the world today. Airbnb does not own a single hotel room and yet are one of the largest providers of hospitality services today. So we have to stop thinking about what assets we own and how we can use them to deliver our products and capabilities. Partnership, alliances, and that's the next thing. Leverage the ecosystem. Get better at developing alliances and partnerships and leveraging them to offer a superior product to your customer by bundling products together. A very good example is mortgages. Most banks think of mortgages as financing. It's not financing. The person taking the mortgage is looking for a home. Help them build a home. It's not just about buying the house and making the payment for it. It's what you're going to do to furnish it. It's how you're going to insure it. Become a partner with the insurance company to offer them a home insurance product. Become a partner with a design company or a home furnishing company to offer them the furnishings for the house. An end-to-end solution. Customer starts saying, oh wow, I'm getting a home, not just financing for my product. That's a very good example of how we can think about everything from personal loans to cards to deposits. Each product can be added to, and those add-ons give more value to the customer. And then lastly, globalization. Digital globalization is a tool even now, despite all we have heard in COVID about supply chain effect, distant supply chains being impacted. Think about it this way. Through digital, you can buy products and services to build your products from anywhere in the world. And your product can be made available to clients anywhere in the world through digital. So digital, in my mind, will continue to leverage globalization. We will have temporary blips, we will have trends, and we will have people bucking the trend and saying, oh my God, I need to have everything next to me. I assure you that's going to last for a year or two. At the end, competitive advantage and the best offering always wins. So if you can get a best offering by getting a product and a service from another location, that's where you're going to go. So global world offering you ability to create digital products and services and deliver them better. So how does this change? There is the traditional world. We can't ignore that. We will do a transition over time, but it's very important to understand it does change. So in banking today, for example, a customer can go to a branch, stand in a queue, or sit with a customer service officer to do a transaction, get advice, go back home, and at times come back to the branch because maybe the first time they didn't bring a document they needed to do the transaction. That's a customer journey versus a digital journey. Customer sitting at home having a chat with a relationship manager. A customer sitting at home looking at products and services and undertaking transactions and being able to access information, because most customers have an information need, transactional need, or advisory need. And more today, each of them can be offered through a digital channel. In HBL Pakistan, we are proud to have launched a product we call eBank just recently, where a Pakistani, non-resident Pakistani will be able to open an account in Pakistan digitally end to end. It's happening. It's there in Pakistan today, paperless account opening, sitting in another country. Or for Pakistani residents who have declared assets abroad, can come and open accounts with a bank and be able to do self-service sitting at home. So digital journeys are simpler, shorter, less friction, and much more consistent in the experience they give to the customer every time the customer comes to them. So we've talked a lot about concepts, frameworks, and you can say, but is this really translating into change in the real world? Look at the data. Top banking priorities post-pandemic. Surveys show 75% of companies feel that digital transformation is their top priority. It ranks at the top, so it's important to many. 4 out of 5 institutions believe that digital will fundamentally change the industry for financial services. The first industry to be disrupted was retail. The second industry to be disrupted is financial services. So I think we need to pay attention to this. We need to understand how to digitally transform ourselves. Furthermore, when you look at the top 3 priorities, the data shows in a survey that 82% of the companies felt digital transformation was their top priority. By a ratio of 2 to 1, against 82%, the next priority was only 42% of the companies. So it's happening. A lot of people are focusing on it. A lot of companies are focusing on it. You should focus on it. If you don't, your survival might be at stake because the industry is changing. Customer behavior is changing. And if we don't adopt, we will become like dinosaurs. So with this data, I hope I've been able to convince you, but sometimes they say data is good, but a picture is better. What do they say? A picture is like 1,000 words. So let me share some pictures with you. Look at that. That's a picture of a horsewhip. There were companies which used to specialize in making horsewhips. It was a very profitable business. Till what happened? The horse buggy got replaced by the Ford Model T, a car. A car came and outwent horse buggies. If there's no horse buggies, you don't need a horsewhip. So there was collateral damage. We think only about the direct hits at us. At times things are happening around us which may not be directly to do with our business, directly to do with our products, but have a huge impact on our products. So be ready to be disrupted either in your own industry, by players from your own industry, or by players from other industries. Cameras. Look at how the Nikons and Kodak cameras and all used to be like. Just look at that picture. It's a very nice picture. The camera looks beautiful, but do you really want to use that versus the picture iPhone takes today? Not really. I'll use the iPhone to take pictures because they're far better, they're easier to carry, and they show you the image right there and then. I'm a Renaissance man. I love a lot of things which are antiques. I'll take that camera and I'll make it a decoration piece, but I'll not use it for taking pictures today. So, industries evolve, products evolve. We have to make sure we evolve our products and our capabilities and our services if we are going to survive. There were companies which were making this thing called a telex machine or a fax machine. If you are one of these companies, today you're going to be enjoying an early retirement sitting on a beach because your company will have gone out of business. Why would anybody use telex or a fax today when they have WhatsApp or many other equivalents of it, WeChat? All these products have replaced a much bulkier, a much more complicated product to use for what? Secure communication, instant communication. So we have to understand the trends happening in our industries. We have to adopt ourselves and make sure our end products and services are able to deliver what our competitors' products and services are delivering. Not the competitors of yesterday, the competitors of today and tomorrow. So there's a compelling case here to undertake transformation, even though we know the stakes are high, even though we know that it's a lot of hard work. In taking on such a program, there are challenges, and I'd like to share with you some of them. I'll classify them in 3 buckets for you. These challenges need to be focused on and addressed early on to keep your program on track. First challenge, communication or their lack of. Communication is about being able to tell a story, a clear, concise story about the change you're trying to bring in your organization. As leaders, you have to be able to articulate clearly in a very simple way what change you're looking for. It's like being able to draw a picture of what tomorrow looks like. It's being able to talk in day-to-day language. Do not send a corporate memo. It's not about what I call corporate speak. A memo is going to go into a drawer. A memo is going to go into a file and it may even go into a bin. Staff do not really get things from memos. You have to stand there and talk, make them understand. In making them understand, I talk about the 3 W's. What are the 3 W's? What is said, same thing has to be said anywhere and everywhere. Where it's said and who says it. Which means have one message, have it consistently articulated by all the leaders of the company, whichever product line they're in, whichever geography they're in. If you're a company operating in 10 countries, each country manager has to say the same thing, not a different thing. It has to be concise, it has to be articulate, it has to be clear, it has to be simple. If you have 5 product lines, each product line leader has to say the same about the change and the transformation that is being undertaken by the company. So those are the 3 W's. If you want to do well in a program, remember communication is key. Remember what happened in GE. Remember what happened in P&G. Remember what happened in BlackBerry. A lot of that had to do with not being able to communicate a clear vision of the future. Next is risk taking. It's only natural as a responsible manager, a responsible leader, to protect the company's P&L. Your P&L today has something in it. Do you look at that and you just keep your eye on that? Or do you look at the P&L of tomorrow? What can I get versus what I have, what I produce today? That was the issue in Yahoo. They were focused on media, making good money from it, had the cash flow to think about acquisitions, and yet resisted because they did not understand the power of monetizing data. Otherwise, they would have gone and bought Google. They did not understand the business model for revenue generation for Facebook. Otherwise, they would have gone and bought Facebook. Yes, there would have been cannibalization. Yes, there would have been some loss of revenue during the transformation. But you got to keep your eye on the prize, the revenues of tomorrow, what I can get, not just what I have. If you just stick to what you have, you may not make changes at the speed that you need to and lose out even what you have. And then lastly, most important in all this, we talked about culture change. Culture change is a key important pillar, and culture change comes from leadership. Leaders have to be on board, they have to believe in the program, and they have to show it. How do they show it? And I like to explain it by saying, buy a new diary. If you don't show change in your time allocation, if you don't give this transformation program the amount of time it needs, it's not going to succeed. Why? Because your behavior is going to be looked at and followed by other leaders. If you're not showing your time and attention, if you're not showing the importance it needs, why would they? So get a new diary, and in the diary, make sure you put more time down for the transformation program than other initiatives. Second thing is, as they say, talk is good, actions are better. You have to lead with your actions. You have to make sure that people see you using the products, people see you championing the products and the initiatives. I'll give you an example of HBL. In HBL, our own digital app was not being used by about 60% of our mid-management. If they're not using it, they won't know what's in it. We looked at it, we launched programs for it, and today we are at 95%. So we strongly believe our management today is much more engaged on digital than it was yesterday. Why? Because they're using the outcomes of that. Why? Because they can see how the products differ, and therefore they can convince our customers, they can explain to our customers and stakeholders why these products are good and they should also be using it. So actions by leaders are very important. And then dedicate your top talent. Remember, what you sow is what you get. You put average people on a program, you're going to get average results from a program. A digital initiative is a lot of work. It's very heavy lifting. Unless you put your top talent on it, it's not going to succeed. Oh, and if you put your top talent, please let them work. Empower them. Don't put them there and ask them to come to you for everything, because that bureaucracy will kill the program. That bureaucracy will not allow you to move at the speed you need to move in an important digital transformation program. And then this stuff is not cheap. I want to leave you the clear message. It's a multi-year commitment of resources. Create the investment dollars. If you create the investment dollars and commit to them over a time period, you'll see the results. But if you are not ready to do that, that's okay. It's a choice to make. But then remember, you also may be running a company or leading a company which is a has-been, but not a leader in its industry. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my views with you today. I have shared with you some horror stories of how things can go wrong. I've shared with you the challenges of a program, a digital program, a transformation program. And they are all there, but they do succeed. Those which are well run, which have the right mindset. And therefore I want to leave, but before leaving, introduce you to this young lady. She conquered the highest peak in Pakistan. She was the first woman climber to conquer this peak. And she did it with what? Determination and willpower. And to my mind, that's the mindset we need to have as leaders if we want to start a digital transformation program. It can be successful, it will be successful if you put your mind to it. Thank you.